Hey there, this is my first MechWarrior Online video with commentary, and instead of usual gameplay stuff that some people do, I decided to make this one about jump jets. Specifically, since I got the ability to video record, I came up with a method for testing out jump jets, how they function, comparing different mechs that use them in game. Now, the first thing I'm going to go over is how I did these tests. In order to do this, what I needed was measuring sticks for both forward jumping, horizontal, and upward jumping, vertical. Forward jumping is an easy one. It's the vertical jumping, the upwards, that was difficult. Take some time to figure out what to use to measure how high a mech jumps. Now, most maps have terrain features like ice walls here, but those are not really good for measuring upward movement. Too irregular in their textures. I figured I'd need something more like a building. It'd need to be a tall building in case of mechs that jump really, really high. Not a short building like these ones here. So there are not many maps that have buildings on them. This is one of them, Frozen City. But the buildings here, while they give a great impression of a snowed-in city, they're not really good for use as a vertical measuring stick. For example, take this tall building right here. You can see the floors on it. They're not very big. There's quite a lot of them. Can determine the floors, it's just not that really well defined that it could be used as a vertical measuring stick. Most other buildings here are like that. This tall one back here. This one doesn't even really have windows on it. So that's no good for a vertical measuring stick. So, going over all the maps, looking for ones that have buildings with a decent height, ability to be used as a stick of some time. Came down to just a couple of choices. Go. No. River City has a lot of buildings on it, including some tall ones. None of these, none of those. Most of those are all terrain anyway. Less buildings. Crimson Strait has buildings on it. HPG has structures, but the textures don't really have the proper texturing for using as a measuring stick. Mining Collective, the same thing. Most of this other stuff doesn't really have decent buildings with decent height and the right textures. So I had River City or Crimson Strait to choose from. Now with River City, well, it had nice buildings with decent height. There was a certain item of concern I had. Show it to you here once it loads up. I don't know if anybody's encountered this before. There are some buildings that have these little balconies on them. First you have to find a building of a good height. These are not really tall enough. This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's too short. You take something like this here. Not sure if this is the right height. Look up high. You see it's got these little projections out of it. Most of the time I don't see people do this, but I've had it happen to me once. Here we are right up next to the building here. I'm going to jump up. You see that spot at the end?
At 0%.
You note there was a point where my jump jet gauge got to here, was not going up. That is due to that little projection off the top of the building. That thing right there. That prevented me from moving upwards. A number of these tall buildings have this. They have these little projections off them. This, not a tall building, but you can see it's got this little lip that can get in the way if you jump right next to it. There's taller buildings in this, actually. Some examples across the waterway here. This cannot really be used because the textures are too irregular. They're not consistent. It's not a regular pattern like a measuring stick. It's needed. You need something that has regular floors at a consistent rate. Coming over here, for example, you find some more buildings with these projections on them. This thing here, I think I got stuck on this one. See, I actually got pushed away from the building. That. Here we have a couple more buildings like that one I used across the way. Point is, these buildings, these ones over here, there's taller buildings in this actually. Point is, well, it has some nice buildings. They're not really good for use as a vertical measuring stick. So, that left me with one map left. Crimson Strait. And I had to go to Crimson Strait and wander all around it, looking for the tallest building on Crimson Strait to use as a measuring stick. So, Crimson Strait. There are a few buildings here that are tall, and I had to actually go and count the floors to find the tallest one on this map. And it turns out to be near one of the spawn points. And it also turned out to be very good for measuring. There's really no tall buildings back there in the 7-row area. This building here looks kind of tall, but it's not actually the tallest. Got to go all the way over to the golf row. Right there in the distance, that building right there turned out to be the tallest building on Crimson Strait, and therefore it had no projections off it, had regular texturing, that the floors were very consistent, very orderly, so it could be used as a measuring stick. And this building became the perfect way to measure vertical height of jump jet mechs, counting each of these window levels as one floor. 1, that's 2, that's 3, and so on. Somewhere about 19 or 20 floors high. I didn't really expect many mechs to go above that, but we'll see what happens later. And in addition, for the horizontal test, I decided that this street here, right next door, decent length, would make the perfect place to do horizontal testing. The way I did this is this crosswalk, come forward, roughly get myself into the crosswalk like this, then would turn around, would line myself up with the street first. Now, I needed some sort of visual cue, because what I would do from here is I would go back and take a running start, jump from roughly the area of the crosswalk for the horizontal test. I needed something to tell me when I was in the area of the crosswalk, because I can't look down and see it. See this building over here? Can't see it very well because it's blurry now, so I can have the mouse pointer. But features on this building, I would line up with a feature in the cockpit. That would be my visual cue that would tell me when to jump. For example, if you look now, you can see there's this panel with the blue circle right about here, and up here is the kill board for the kills you get. Right next to that, there's a white panel on the building. When that white panel is right next to those boards, that's my visual cue for this mech, for this cockpit design, tell me when to jump. And what I would do is I would go back so I could get a little running start here. Now I would run forward looking for that visual cue in that white panel, get next to those boards. That would tell me when to jump like this. Now I would jump until all the jump jet fuel is exhausted.
Fuel at 0%.
Then I would turn back around, and what I would do is I would zoom in, aim towards that crosswalk, and then this gauge here, this tells you the distance to what's in the crosshairs. My crosshairs aim towards the crosswalk. That would tell me how far I had jumped. And I would use an advanced zoom module. I don't have it on now. For mechs that would jump far like this, I'd use an advanced zoom module to get a little more precise. And this is roughly 246 meters for this Arctic cheetah. And that would tell me how far forward a mech jumped. Or how tall. Of course, I'd line myself up at this building here. Get a read on where I was here. Here I'm at this floor. This is about the second floor up. So this is my start point for measurement. And I would jump maximum jump jets.
5%. Fuel at 0%.
And the whole time I did this, I would record this. You could see it's a little fast to count the floors. I would record doing this so I could take the video and go over it later. In doing so, I could slow down the speed and count the floors more accurately. So these are the methods I use to test vertical and horizontal jumping. And next up, we're going to get into showing you some of the videos and the results. Stay tuned, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so what were the results of all the testing that? Well, I made up this spreadsheet here. There's a tab for vertical jump height, lift speed, and I recorded all this data here, going over these videos. Now, how I went over these videos is here. I have these 4 folders, one for weight class. I would go in here, and these are some of the videos. This is for all the heavy mechs that I tested out. And each mech has at least 3 or more videos for it. Actually, better example is to go into the mediums. For example, where is the Nova video? Yeah, I have a lot of medium mechs here. The Nova has 5 fixed jump jets. I only have 3 videos for it here. One is for the build that I used. One is for the horizontal forward jump testing. One is for the vertical height testing. 5 jump jets. This, for example, video for the vertical height test. I could take this video, take the slider here. I could slide it along, get a little zoom in here so I can get more precise. And as I slide this along at a slower speed than in-game, I could actually count how many floors it went up. I could watch over here, see the lift speed number. So I could get the highest lift speed. Novas go pretty high, as you can see. And then when it reached the highest point, I would have counted up all the floors and recorded that. Along the way, notice the highest lift speed number and put it all onto that table. For the horizontal, here it is looking down the street. And it jumps. Okay, this one I did not use the advanced zoom for, but you can see me aiming back there. There's the number for the horizontal jump, 147 meters. And I would take this data and record it. Now, if I needed to get more precise, I have this other program here. It's part of a program package I have called CyberLink Media Suite Essentials. This is a program called Power Director. And the reason I use this also is because of the following. So I have to go back to the heavy mechs, the quick draw with 3 jump jets here. Quick draw. Okay. Now, if I take this slider for this quick draw using 3 jump jets, I'm going to look at the lift speed here. It starts at 0. I start going up. Now there it is at 12 here. Goes up to 13. Then it drops to 11. And if I just watch this, I get the impression that the highest lift speed it gets is 13. Gets near the top, the lift speed slows down. But if I take the exact same video here, quick draw with 3 jump jets, and I go into this preview media viewer within Power Director. Got to shrink this down a little bit. There are these controls down here, and the forward and back controls allow you to go frame by frame. Now here I am where the lift speed is at 12. In the same video, the exact same video I just had in this movie player. I'm going to go frame by frame here, which is a lot slower. Takes more time, but it gets more precise. Go back a bit, test it. Okay, here's where it's at 13, which would look like it was the highest lift speed from the movie player. It's still at 13. Now here I have a frame at 14, which I did not see in the movie player. This is why sometimes I would be using this program, because there would be a frame of a certain number like this with a lift speed of 14 I don't see in the movie player. So this helped me get more accurate results. I use these 2 programs, the movie player and Power Director, go over all these videos to get the data for this Google spreadsheet. I have this other spreadsheet here. This is a saved copy on my computer. Now you will note the Google spreadsheet has 2 tabs, one for the vertical jump height and one for lift speed. The saved one on my computer has a 3rd tab for horizontal jump. The reason I took this out of the Google spreadsheet is because I started recording horizontal jump. Sorry about that. I started recording the horizontal jump distance, like here with the Victor, it's 81 with 1 jump jet, 95 with 4, 101 with 6. And after I did some of this, I had this thought, what if I changed the engine size of the mech? Would that affect the jumping ability in any way? So, to do this, I took Thunderbolt 9SE. I had been using this with a 300 rated engine in all its tests. And here, 4 jump jet Thunderbolt 9SE with a 300 rated engine. This is the horizontal file. I'm going to just go all the way to the end where I measure it. See, I got the advanced zoom here. Now, when I measure this 4 jump jet Thunderbolt 300 rated engine, it comes out to 119 meters horizontal. What happens if I change the engine size on the exact same mech? So the same Thunderbolt, I dropped the engine to a 250. I added some stuff to fill out the tonnage to 65 tons. And here. This is the same Thunderbolt, but with a 250 engine, 50 points lower engine. I go fast forward to the point where I zoom in for the jump distance. It was 119 meters with a 300 engine. Here, it's 96. So this test showed me that if I change the engine rating, it changes the distance of the horizontal jump. Now, I did also check the vertical height, which here's a 250 vertical height test video. Here's the 300 vertical height test video. And the vertical height did not change. So changing the engine will change the horizontal jump distance forward, but it will not change the vertical height upward. And it will not change the lift speed. Now, at this point, I stopped recording horizontal data for a certain couple of reasons. If I wanted to get precise measurements for horizontal jump distance, the forward jumping, I would have to take every jump jet mech I have and test it using every single engine rating. That involves two problems. One is C-bills. You have to spend a lot of C-bills to pay for all those engines, and I don't have that many C-bills. I don't even think some of the wealthy players have C-bills. The other is that I would have to spend a lot of time. I would probably have to spend months recording all those jump jets. And I didn't really see myself as having the time to do that. So I did get some useful information out of this, that changing the engine rating changes the horizontal jump distance. But I stopped recording the data and I took it off the Google spreadsheet. That's why you won't see it. I also wish to point out one other thing. I also discovered from testing MASC equipped mech, such as the Executioner. And I also tested, thought I had it. Don't know where it is. Okay. I also tested the Wolverine 7D. There's a MASC video for it. And I also tested the Shadowcat. There. Shadowcat horizontal with MASC. I can also say with certainty that when MASC is used, prior to this, I had heard this story on the forums. Somebody said that MASC, equipped mechs, when you use MASC before jumping, it makes you jump better. You were supposed to jump higher. You were supposed to jump further. I can tell you with certainty from actually doing these tests, if you use MASC right before you jump, you will jump further forward. For example, an Executioner normally will jump 110 meters forward. With MASC, right before you jump, it will go an additional 25 meters. Wolverine, normally with max jump jets of 5, will go 136 meters. With MASC on, it will go 171. Shadowcat normally goes 194 forward, but with MASC on, it will go 238 meters. So MASC helps you jump forward. It will not help you jump higher. So that's the second thing that will affect horizontal movement, but not vertical upward movement. So horizontal movement is improved by getting a bigger engine, and it is improved by using MASC before you jump. Vertical upward movement is not affected by these two things. So the horizontal jump data is taken out for the two reasons I mentioned, and that brings us back to the vertical jump height and the lift speed. So we're going to go over the vertical jump height first, which is probably the one people are most interested in. How high a mech can jump. How much you can clear obstacles, jump onto a building, whatever. Now, in this area, I have the table filled out quite a bit. The only thing I'm missing is mechs I do not have. I don't have the Kodiak 2 or any dire wolves. I don't have Marauders, Innersphere Marauders, or the Marauder 2Cs. So those mechs don't have any values in them, but I do have at least one mech of every tonnage except 100 tons, and there's enough data to draw some conclusions which were rather astounding. The first thing we can say with definite certainty, vertical height, is the following. There are going to be certain points of view on the vertical height data. The data shows that in the assault mechs, which use the Class 1 and Class 2 jump jets, Class 1 is for 90, 95, and 100 tons. Class 2 is for 80 and 85 tons. All the assault mechs are jumping the same height with the same number of jump jets. If you have one, I only had 3 assault mechs to test: the Executioner, the Innersphere Highlander, and a Victor I got. With one jump jet, Highlander and the Victor were jumping the same height, 2 and 2/3 floors. The 3 jump jets, they're both jumping 5 1/3 floors. With the Highlander, I do not have the 733C or the heavy metal that go to 4 and 5 jump jets. but I figured they will be the same as the Victor. Executioner, which is locked for jump jets, you can't alter it, is also going the same height as a Victor with 4 jump jets, 6.5 floors. Even from this little data, it looks like all the assault mechs are jumping to the same height with the same number of jump jets. This is somewhat similar to what happens in lore in the tabletop. In tabletop, any mech of any weight using the same number of jump jets will jump the same height. You could take a 20-ton mech and a 100-ton mech, give them 1 jump jet, they will both get to level 1 terrain and no higher. If you gave them 4 jump jets, they can go to level 4 terrain and no higher. So the assault mechs are following lore, put it one way. But when you get to the other 3 weight classes, it's a different story entirely. You have, for example, in the heavy mechs, I had Timberwolves, don't have the S variant, so I don't have 1, 3, and 5 jump jets, but still, I had 2 and 4 using the side torsos. Timberwolves, 75 tons, are the lowest jumping heavy mech using class 3 jump jets, which is what all heavy mech. Quick Draw, the 60-tonner, is the highest jumper. For example, a 70-ton Grasshopper goes 3 1/3 floors on a single jump jet. Quick Draw goes 3 7/8. The Grasshopper 5J, which can go up to 6 jump jets, goes to 12 floors. Quick Draw with 6 jump jets goes 14 1/8 floors. This is different than the assault mech, which are all at a flat rate no matter what their tonnage. Here, heavy mechs, the lighter the mech, the higher it's jumping within the weight class. The same holds true for the mediums using class 4 jump jets. The 55 tonners are the lowest jumpers, and the 40 tonners are the highest. And the same also holds true with the class 5 jump jets, which is for the light mechs. 35 tonners jump the lowest, and the 25-ton Mistlynx jumps the highest with its. So the assault mechs are functioning completely differently than the other 3 weight classes. Now, from this, I could see people having different opinions. Some people will go, oh, it's fine, I don't care. I know the way it is, just leave it alone. You could also have what I would call the lore argument. The assault mechs are doing things by lore, jumping the same height on the same number of jump jets. The other 3 weight classes are not and need to be fixed. You could have the argument that the other 3 weight classes are fine, and it's the assault mechs that could be fixed. Or you may have some other argument I don't even know about. But it's obvious there's a difference there. Another difference that is noted is between certain light mechs and certain medium mechs. This is a very obvious difference. And this is, we all know that light mechs have gotten somewhat nerfed with the rescaling, that people are taking fewer light mechs into matches. Because the 35-ton popular light mechs aren't popular anymore because they got bigger. Well, it turns out some of the medium mechs are outjumping the light mechs on the same number of jump jets. Let's take, for example, the Cicada 3F, a 40-ton jump capable mech. With 5 jump jets, the Cicada 3F will go 17 1/3 floor. With 5 jump jets, a 35-ton mech, such as the Panther, Raven, or Jenner 2C, only goes to 10 1/5 floors. So a Cicada outjumps 35-ton mechs. It also outjumps 30-ton mechs, such as a Kit Fox with 5 jump jets, which only goes 12 1/8 floors. It goes higher than the 35-tonners, but the Cicada 40-tonner outjumps it. You also get the same at 45-ton mechs, such as a Vindicator, of all things, a Vindicator. Vindicator and a Shadowcat, 6 jump jets. Vindicator 1AA can do 6 jump jets. Both go 18 1/2 floors. 35-ton mechs like the Panther and the Jenner 2C with 6 jump jets only go 12. That's 6 floors less. 30-ton mechs like the Arctic Cheetah and the Kit Fox only go 14 1/3 floors. Even the 25-ton Mistlynx goes 17 2/3 floors. So the 45 tonners are out jumping all the light mechs with the same number of jump jets. Even the 50 tonners out jump them. A Hunchback 2C with 4 jump jets goes 10 and 7/8. The closest you get is 30-ton mechs with 4 jump jets, like the Urban Mech and Kit Fox, go to 10, slightly lower. I mean, it's just plain, even 55 tonners are out jumping light mechs. So the light mechs have just gotten slammed again. They are not as jump capable as the medium mechs are. I would suspect what is called the vertical boost number. If you go to Smurfy's website, on the equipment page, there is a listing for the jump jets, and it lists a vertical boost number for each class of jump jet. The light mechs, the class 5 jump jets, have a vertical boost of 37. Right here, that put it in. The medium mechs and the heavy mechs have a vertical boost of 75. Now, you would think that number is the problem, but the thing that can't support that is the assault mechs. Class 1 and 2 jump jets have a vertical boost of 68. And as I mentioned earlier, the assault mechs are all jumping at a flat rate. Can't really be that number at all. But something is not making the light mechs jump as high as the medium mechs. Medium mechs are out jumping the lights, so the lights got to hit again, in addition to the rescaling. There's even a slight difference between 55 and 60 tons, which is another oddity. This is the next oddity that we saw in this data. Take, for example, the quick draw compared to 55-ton mechs like the Griffins and the Wolverines, the one Wolverine I have. With one jump jet, the 60-ton quick draw goes 3 7/8 floors. With one jump jet, a 55-ton mech goes 3 1/4 floors. So the quick draw slightly, not big, but slightly outjumps the 55-tonners. The same happens at 2 jump jets. The same happens at 3 jump jets. At 4 jump jets, 1, 2, 3, and 4 jump jets, the quick draw has a slight advantage over 55 tons. Then you get to 5 jump jets, and suddenly it flips. The quick draw only goes 12 floors. 55-ton mechs go 12 1/8. 6, the quick draw goes 14 1/8 floors. The 55-ton Griffin can go to 14 1/2. With 7 jump jets, the Griffin outjumps the quick draw. So when you hit 5 jump jets and higher, 55-ton mechs are going slightly higher. It's a weird, strange flip-flop between them. That's the third oddity. Some of this stuff I did not expect. I no idea what to do. Oh, and I also should mention there's a few entries I have here where I entered the word immeasurable. The reason I entered this is because of the building I used. For example, the Cicada 3F, 6, 7, and 8 jump jets is listed as immeasurable. Jenner 2C-2, which can go up to 10 jump jets, is listed as immeasurable. The reason for that, find the Cicada video here. Still have it somewhere. Cicada with 8 jump jets, vertical, here. Okay, this is the most extreme example. Here's the Cicada at ground level. I'm going to fast forward through this video, jumping up. Oh, the building is gone. Here's the top of the building right here. Still have a small amount of jump jet fuel left, and I burned all the jump jet fuel every time I did these jumps. Now, here, I'm shooting above the building. You can still see part of the roof down here. Still got some jump jet fuel. Up, the building is gone. Still going up. This is the highest point right here. Building is gone. I overshot the building. This is why I entered entries of immeasurable. I overshot the building roof. I couldn't measure it because the building was gone. There were no floors above the roof to measure it with. No windows. Nothing to measure with. So, Cicada 3F. That's the wrong chart. Sorry. Cicada 3F with 6, 7, and 8 jump jets I could not measure because the building wasn't tall enough. Jenner 2C-2 I could not measure. I suspect I do not own these. Spider 5V, which can go up to 12 jump jets, will probably be immeasurable at some point. Probably not the 5D, only the 5V. I also suspect Phoenix Hawk 1, which can go up to 8 jump jets, may also be immeasurable at 8. So there's a few mechs that I just couldn't measure at certain high numbers of jump jets. Other than that, I've got entries for all the mechs that I own. The mechs that I do not own, I listed them, but I don't have their entry. I just marked off the highest number of jump jets they could go for what variants, such as the Marauder 2C. Only the B and C variants have jump jets, so I put them in at 4. But I don't have their entries because I don't own the mech. But I got enough mechs, especially at the medium and light classes, that I could enter enough data, even with the assaults. Only having 3 assaults, I still got enough data to see some results. And then there's also the lift speed data. Now, this data, what this would be useful for is lift speed is how fast you go up. Higher lift speed you have, the faster you jump up, starting from ground level. This would matter to people who want to Pop-Tart because we don't see it that often anymore, but every now and then I still see somebody doing Pop-Tarting. If you want to do Pop-Tarting, you want to get up as fast as possible and have the minimum amount of time in the air to get people to shoot at you while you shoot back at them. So you would want a mech with the right build, the right hard points, and also a fast lift speed. So I did enter this data here for Pop-Tart fans. You can see which mechs jump the fastest on how many jump jets. And that could affect their builds possibly. So you have that data as well. There is also an interesting thing about lift speed when you compare it to the vertical jump height. For example, in the assaults, as I explained earlier, all the assaults jump at the same rate on the same number of jump jets. A 4 jump jet executioner and a 4 jump jet Victor both go 6.5 floors. But when you look at the lift speed, 4 jump jet executioner has the highest lift speed, 11. 4 jump jet Victor has the highest lift speed of 12. So they both go to the same height, but the Victor gets there a little faster. The Highlander compared to the Victor, there's no difference really. Apparently there's something that happens at 4 jump jets, I guess, where it becomes a little different. I have no idea. So anyway, that is all the data I recorded. MASC does not increase your vertical jump height. And let's see, what else do I have written down here that I wanted to cover? I also should cover here. Using Smurfy's website, I used Crimson Strait as my testing ground. Now, we all know that the different maps have different temperatures, which affect the heat different ways. Colder maps make you overheat less and you can cool off easier. Hotter maps, you overheat faster and you cool off a little worse. But there's some other data on these maps as well. There's surface water and surface gravity. Surface water, I don't think that really affects anything. Water is on the planet or the map. I don't know why it's there. It's not really a big deal game-wise, I can see. But surface gravity, I don't know if that affects jumping mech. Reason is, to find that out, I would have to have the same measuring stick on different maps with different gravity. That building I used would have to be on other maps with different gravity so I could test that out. That's not in the game, so I cannot tell if gravity changes the jump height of a mech. I could probably check the horizontal distance, the forward jumping. I just didn't see the point in investing the time because I would also want to test the vertical height jumping, and I can't. I can say that there's a few different gravity changes. The gravity ratings change from 0.8 at the lowest, 0.8, 0.9, 1, 1.1, and 1.2 at the highest. So there's 5 different gravity ratings. Might affect the jumping. I don't know much, if at all. And finally, I should also mention how this would affect people who have recently and will again do the PTS, the new skill tree. When I first came up with this idea, it was before skill trees came out, and then I saw the skill tree videos, the previews back in November, and I noticed there was a skill tree for jump jets. And since the PTS, the recent one, I've seen some people's videos where they go over the skill trees in the PTS, and there was a jump jet skill tree. On the jump jet skill tree, there were 3 items. Here's from the preview page on the website, the jump jet skill tree. Vent calibration, lift speed, and vectoring. And there were different levels of each. Now, according to what I saw in one person's video, others didn't seem to have an explanation for it, but I finally found it in one person's video what each of these does. And here's how I think this data I have on this spreadsheet would affect these skill trees. Apparently, from what I've seen in the videos, nobody tried the jump jet skill trees. It's either they just don't care or they don't know how to measure it. Maybe this data can help them measure out how these skill trees for jump jets affect it. Let's start with vectoring. This is an easy one. Vectoring is said to increase the forward thrust of Mechs jump jets. Now, I'm going to guess that affects the horizontal forward jump distance. I'm not sure if it affects just some other number. There is some other number called horizontal boost for jump jets that you can see on Smurfy's, and it's all set the same. All the jump jets have a horizontal boost of 4.1. I'm guessing it's going to affect the horizontal jump distance, the same way engine rating and MASC does. So I'm guessing, I can't say this for certain, you take vectoring skills, skill tree, you will get an increased horizontal distance in jumping. I don't know if horizontal distance is a big deal to people. The only times I could see that affecting people jumping is when they jump, say, from one roof to another on a building, or when you're jumping across canyons on Canyon Network. That's when it would matter. I've done things like that. I can say that the larger mechs have problems, for example, jumping across canyons, but mediums and lights with high enough jump jets, they can easily go from one high point in Canyon Network, jump across a canyon to another high point without falling down into the canyon itself. So those are times when horizontal distance you may want to modify it. Now here's the thing about the vectoring skill. This is just an opinion of mine. Is this really needed? The only thing I could see vectoring needed for would be OmniMech. Because OmniMechs, as we all know, cannot modify their engines. As I explained earlier, the mechs that can modify their engines, when you change the engine, like with the Thunderbolt, for going from a 250 engine to a 300, increase the horizontal distance, the OmniMechs do not have the ability to do that because their engines are locked in, fixed. You cannot modify it up or down. So vectoring could be something to give the OmniMechs the ability to modify their jump distance forward. While the non-OmniMechs, such as the Thunderbolt I used, they would not need vectoring because all they have to do is change their engine rating. Another skill that was on the jump jet skill tree is the lift speed. Somebody said that it had to do with the initial boost of getting off the ground. I don't know what that means exactly or if it affects this data I have on these tables. If anything, I'm guessing it has to do with increasing the lift speed, sound of it. And that would mean it would affect Pop-Tarters, people who want Pop-Tarting mech. Because if you can increase the lift speed, you can increase how high you get, how sooner you Pop-Tart, and you would have less time in the air to get people shooting back at you. hopefully. So I'm guessing that's what lift speed would do. Skill tree. I'm not really sure. You would have to ask PGI to clarify that more. And then there was vent calibration, which is said to increase the burn time of MWO Jump Jets. Now, I also admit I'm a little confused as to what that is, as to whether that affects the jump jet fuel, or does that increase the amount of time it's jumping somehow, which might affect the jump jet height? I don't know again. But if it does, you'd have to ask PGI to clarify it. And if it does affect this data I've gathered somehow, you have a starting point here from this data. And if you open up the skills on the Jump Jets skill tree to try it out, you could use the same testing method I did on the PTS when they open it up again. And you can go back and measure the same mechs with the unlocked skills and compare it to the ones that I did, which do not have the Jump Jet skills unlocked. For example, you could take let's take the Thunderbolt again. You could take the Thunderbolt 9SE with 4 jump jets. It can go 9 floors of that building in height. You could go into the PTS, unlock some skill such as vent calibration, see if it affects the height. I don't think lift speed will, and vectoring certainly will. You can unlock vent calibration and see if it allows a 4 jump jet Thunderbolt to go higher than 9 floors. With the lift speed skill, said I think affects the lift speed of the mech, the Thunderbolt with 4 jump jets goes at the highest to 16 lift speed. That is the number here in your HUD, right up in this corner in the upper right. You could unlock the lift speed skill and go to that same building. You don't even need to go to the building. Lift speed will measure no matter where you are. You could jump up, use up all your jump jet fuel, record it, go back over the video, and see if the lift speed skill increases your lift speed above 16, which is what I think it would do. I'm not sure. And then for the vectoring skill, that would involve a horizontal test. I said, sorry I didn't give you the data, but I explained why. Just don't have the time or the C-bills to invest in all the engine ratings. But I did have some of it. For example, a Thunderbolt again. It goes 119 meters with a 300 rated engine forward. If you unlock the vectoring skill, which is supposed to increase the forward movement, you could then perform the same test and see if it allowed you to go further than 119 meters. You would have to test it with and without the skills unlocked, because I don't have all the data to give you. So hopefully this could also benefit people on the PTS in this manner. And that is the conclusion of this video. Check this list I have here of things I wanted to go over. Yep, I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So I hope you find this video helpful, shaping your opinions. I'm going to have a link to this Google spreadsheet in the description of the YouTube video. I'm also going to put it in the description on MechWarrior Online Facebook page, the forums, Reddit, and you can check it over for the vertical jump height and the lift speed. Form opinions, share the information around, and then you could possibly give feedback to PGI if you want to see changes made. And who knows, maybe we'll actually get changes if it's needed. I know I have opinions, but I'm not going to throw all my opinions out in this video. My main goal was just to give you all this data so everybody could have a nice discussion on it, good, healthy debate. That's the conclusion of this video. Thank you for your time, and have a nice day.